G'day, Matt Thompson with you on AFL.com.au, continuing our 2013 Footy Focus series. Today, it's all about the barometers. If these players play well, your team will generally win. Garry Lyon is here to go through the list. G'day, Gaz.
Hi, Matty. How are you, mate? The AFL clubs wouldn't want to lose these players we're about to talk about.
Let's begin with Steve Johnson at the Cats.
Some of these are obvious. They just can't be left out. They demand to be put in this list, and we've tried to be a bit lateral in others, but Stevie Johnson is just an obvious one. I think his football smarts are undersold. He's got coaching aspirations. I think he's a really deep thinker. I think he brings his teammates into the game. I think his move into the midfield's been inspired because it frees him up. His creativity is then able to affect the rest of the side. And look, there's no doubt that they feed off his energy. I mean, he's got audacious talent and he's prepared to put it out there and have a crack at it. And I think his teammates look at him and say, well, when you're on song, we win.
Luke McPharlin at the Fremantle Dockers.
Bit different. I mean, Pavlich is the obvious one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the back half for Fremantle, if you take Luke McPharlin out of that side, I think they would struggle. So his ability to play on the opposition's best forward and beat them, I think, generally dictates how Fremantle play.
This is a really interesting conversation. Jordan Lewis at Hawthorn.
Yeah, look, I think Jordan Lewis is, again, underrated. I think his leadership at that footy club is outstanding. I think he does the job that the Hawthorn Footy Club want him to do, therefore perhaps the public don't see it as often as we do. I think if you ask Hawthorn players who they love the most, and he goes to the opposition's best player more often than not, and we'll do that in a forward role. We've seen him do it on Heath Shaw and kick 5 goals and beat him. And look at that, body-on-body stuff, clearing a path, and then when it's all said and done, he's got the ability to kick goals and ooze class. So I think he's super important, Jordan.
I guess the obvious question, though, is why not Buddy, Cyril, even Sam Mitchell?
Well, I mean, you can have them in, but I just love the leadership that he brings to that footy club. I think he's a super important player.
To the Magpies, Heath Shaw.
Yeah, again, he's the spiritual barometer, I would describe him at Collingwood, and I think his importance in that back half to organise, to get everyone structured up really well. I think he's a demanding player. I think he puts a lot of pressure on those blokes around him, will give a bake if they need it, and then get forward and kick a goal. I think he is a barometer at the Collingwood Footy Club, so much so that if I was playing against the Collingwood Footy Club, every single time I'd put a defensive forward on Heath Shaw and try and drag him back. I think when you distract Heath, Collingwood suffer as a result. If you let Heath play on his own terms, Collingwood win more often than not.
A younger player now at Port Adelaide, Hamish Hartlett.
Well, you say younger, but he's been around for a little while.
Yeah,
I think if he was a Melbourne-based player, we'd have a greater appreciation of his ability. I think he's got Trent Cotchin-like abilities, this bloke, and I think he's just starting to find some consistency. Being out on the park helps enormously. So, yeah, look, Port Adelaide aren't a sexy side. I think they're going to get sexier as this season goes, and I think this is one of the reasons. Hamish Hartlett, I like him a lot. If he plays well, then they'll have a much better year. Yeah,
that's a really interesting point, isn't it, about Port being a lower profile team. These players don't get the same attention, do they?
No, they do not, and he and Boak and Ebert are going to hold Port Adelaide in pretty good stead.
So the Blues, Jarrad Waite.
Well, I tell you, you'd want to play well, Jarrad Waite, because I've put my reputation, if I've got one, on the line. Look, I just think he's so important. His body hasn't allowed him to play enough. Some continuity in his preparation. I know he's got injury problems again, so that's a bad way to start. But when he plays, he does this sort of stuff. He's a contested mark animal. He's a goal kicker, 27 goals in half a season on the back of no preparation at all. I think he's such a vital ingredient. They've got a midfield that's going to give their forwards plenty of supply. He just needs to stand up.
Now, out of all the players you could have picked at the Sydney Swans, the premiership side, you've gone with Jarrad McVeigh.
Yeah, well, I think he is the embodiment of what is great about Sydney, and that is that they have a level head, they have a no-nonsense approach, they have a strong work ethic, and they put team first. And Jarrad goes to opposition midfielders always, and always does the job, and has also got the ability to go forward and kick goals. So I think around the team, McVeigh's critically important.
To Richmond now, Trent Cotchin.
Tried to be lateral here, but this is what, if people want to say, what are you talking about? We're talking about Trent Cotchin, because he plays well, Richmond win. I think it's almost as simple as that.
So he's the ultimate barometer.
He is the epitome of the barometer. Look at this sort of football. He'll win a Brownlow medal, this bloke, and that's not saying anything out of the ordinary, but I think his work ethic, he's hard, he's tough, he's skillful, I think he's selfless, I think he's modest, and I think he influences games. So when you talk about footy barometers, then put Trent Cotchin at the top of your list.
Okay, almost out of time, but we're going to try and cover off every club here, so let's just whip through some more barometers.
Yep, Dangerfield only going to get better, which is a scary proposition. I think Tom Rockcliffe's ability to go forward and kick goals and win possession in the midfield, Brisbane win when he plays well. Michael Hurley, well, if he could ever get it all together, I like the way his body is looking this summer.
Where should he play, Hurley?
Forward, centre forward, Matty. That's where the job gets done. Pay the big bucks to the forwards, mate. David Swallow, he'll step up and we'll realise why we've got the big raps on him.
Why not Ablett?
Well, too obvious. Mitch Clark is, I think, a star in the making. I think his year last year was unbelievable in a side that really struggled to be able to play like he did. So he plays well. Melbourne will have a better year. Jeremy Cameron, untapped in terms of ability. Drew Petrie kicks goals. The Kangaroos play well. Stephen Milne, the same. Mark Lacroix was sadly missed last year from West Coast Eagle point of view. And Ryan Griffin, well, opposition clubs tag him out of the game. Western Bulldogs struggle.
All right, Gaz, thank you very much for that. Keep clicking back to afl.com.au. We have the footy news covered for you all day, every day, plus our next 2013 Footy Focus, when we'll be talking about the non-negotiables. Garry will be making a statement. Yes, a statement. So keep watching for that. Stay with us here at afl.com.au for more. As it happens, we'll see you soon.